Hi everyone, Rebecca the Frugal Resinista here. Today I am celebrating 15,000 subscribers. Oh my goodness, I can't even tell you guys how much that means to me and how much I appreciate you all watching. I never thought I would hit 15,000 subscribers when I tried this. I am going to do a giveaway today for hitting 15,000, and instead of doing just a product giveaway this time, I am actually going to create a piece. Just one of my signature 3D geodes, which now a lot of people on YouTube are doing, and I'm so excited that people are trying it. I'm going to create one of those myself, talk you guys through it, and then we will draw a winner from my Patreon page, and I'll give you details about that in the comment section. As I'm opening these canvases, I'm going to talk to you guys. I am using an 8x10 canvas, and I am using a 6x6 that's going to fit nicely right inside of the 8x10. So first of all, you guys, I did my last video and put it to music and put my instructions in the description just to see what you all think about it. And there was a very overwhelming vote that you did not like that, which I appreciate. I tried that because every once in a while I get comments from people saying, quit talking so much, we just want to see the video, I'm going to speed you up and mute you. And so I thought, well, we'll just see how many people feel that way, but apparently not most of you, which I appreciate. That's really nice of you. But I'm going to go back to giving you full instructions and everything, and we will go from there. I'm putting one canvas inside of the other, and then what I'm going to do is grab my pen, or I guess my Sharpie, that's what I have handy, and I'm going to feel where the inside edges of the other canvas are. All right, those are right here, 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 and here. And then I am going to take my razor blade and cut a shape out of the center somewhere in this square. I don't want to get too close to the edges because I don't want my wood to show through too much, but I also don't want things to be too symmetrical, so I'm going to kind of mess around with them a little bit. So the next part of this, I'm actually going to lose this piece for a few minutes and focus on the inside of my smaller canvas. Today I am using Total Boat High Performance Epoxy Resin, and this is a 2-part resin to 1 part fast hardener. You can get Total Boat in different speeds of hardener. I like the fast because you guys know how impatient I am, but if you're newer to this, you might want to do a slower. There's a medium speed and a slow speed. The other cool thing about these is that the pump measures for you. So I don't even have to worry about getting my scale out or anything like that. I just do the equal number of pumps of both and mix them up really well. And then I can start pouring. Another awesome tip that I just got from my friend Carrie, who is another resin artist. Carrie Wooden, you are fabulous. These are garden stakes to let you write down what you've planted, but they work wonderfully to mix your resin because they're plastic and the resin will peel off and they are reusable. And Carrie, that was such an amazing idea because not only being frugal, I love it when we do something that can kind of help save the planet, and so without having to throw these away every time like the wooden sticks, that is super helpful. Alright, for this project, you guys, I'm first going to get my glue gun heated up. This is just sparkly paper, thick cardstock that I got at Michael's when it was on sale. Every once in a while, they have a sale that's paper 10 pieces for $1, 10 cents each, and that is when I stock up. I know that you can't always find that stuff, but that's why I go very often to craft stores, so that as each different sale hits, I can kind of stock up on things. So my glue gun's going to heat up, and I am going to cut out a piece of this paper that's going to fit into my canvas. Now I'm not being super careful on the size because I can slide it down under the canvas frame a little bit. Alright, the next thing I'm going to do is use my glue gun to glue this paper down to the inside of my canvas. I'm going to kind of slide it into place here. So I don't have a ton of glue on it yet because I want to get it to where it's going to go and then finish gluing it down if I need to do more. So this is, my paper is a little bit bigger than the inside edges of my canvas, and that is fine. I'm going to just crease it. See, there's still good use for these wooden popsicle sticks. I'm going to crease it. It is stuck to the canvas, and then on the sides where it's not kind of coming up around the edges, I'm going to add a little more glue. And all of this is just because when I pour my resin in, I don't want to waste my resin by having a bunch of it go underneath the frame, in between the frame and this part of the canvas. This saves me from that happening. Alright, so I've just gone over that a couple times, and now the next thing I'm going to do is add some of my accent stones that will be in the middle of this piece. Now, I went to Michael's while they were having their every bead strand for $3 sale, because these dumb things with the blue are $9.99 a strand, which is just ridiculous, but I got them for $3. And then same with these, I believe the brown ones are $5 for a strand, and I love this iridescent look with the gold and all the colors mixed in, and I thought that would look cool with this black glitter paper. So I'm just going to take a few of these, not a lot, and I'm going to put a little kind of mush of them in the middle here sticking up, so that when I put this canvas on top of this canvas, they will be sticking out. And I will do this actually, I'll show you guys. I'm going to go ahead and set this where it's going to be. Because I have an odd shape here, I'm going to go ahead and stick them kind of in a shape like this in the middle, and I want to be able to see where they need to go. So I'm going to leave it underneath there to glue these in. Alright, I think that is going to be an awesome shape. Now I'm going to take this off so that it's out of the way for now. And for the rest of this, because you can see more of it than just these obviously, I'm going to cover this bottom part first with clear resin, which is just going to be one pump of each of my pumps, the resin and the hardener. And then I am going to mix that up, pour it in, and then put some glass in gold and in a clear mirror glass, and I might do some other color, I haven't decided yet, just to match all of this. But that is my next step, and I'll do that real quick and then we'll move on. A few people have asked me, if I'm the Frugal Resinista, why do I recommend expensive resin? And I don't recommend the most expensive resin, but I've said this a few times in my videos, I should probably say it more often. The thing with being frugal with all of your other supplies is that if you use cheap resin, your product ends up looking cheap because a lot of that turns yellow after a while, and I've done that. That's not just a thought in my mind, that's actually happened to me before, and so I would much rather spend a little more on the resin itself and figure out how to use the other products less expensively, because in the long run, if I use cheap resin, I waste all the products completely because it yellows and then I don't like the final look. So that's why I do that. I am using $4.99 $5 mirror glass that is vase filler from Michael's, and I always wait and get these with my 40% off coupons. And then there is this True Living brand of glass gems, and I got that in gold, and I don't have a lot left, and I've already mixed some of it with my mirror glass because I love this combo. But I get this at the Dollar General for $3. So I'm going to pour my clear in, and then I'm going to start by pouring this all over. And then if I need more, I'll add a little bit of this, and then I might just go back with a tiny bit of maybe purple or blue glass, just a little, to add some shine to this that matches some of these other colors. also just kind of like to shake these around once it's in because I want to make sure everything has stuck to the resin. Kind of move it around. With the clear mirror glass, you don't want to get resin on the top of it because that tends to make it see-through and not shiny anymore. And so I always pour my resin first and then my mirror glass if I'm using the clear. All right, I'm going to let that harden, and this stuff goes really quick, so it will not take long to harden. And I'm going to start prepping the outside piece of my painting. For this piece, I am going to let my resin pour over the edges, but I'm still going to tape it. And some people ask me about that and why I choose to do that. I am going to tape these edges so that they do not get resin on them. I just like the look because I'm using some of this gold and also the gold stones. I want to use my gold enamel paint and paint the edges of this because I feel like that on rough canvas edges really looks like a gold nugget, a raw gold nugget, and I just really like that look. I don't do it all the time, but I want the look of the rest of this to still be able to pour over. I don't want to make a big wall of resin coming up. So I'm going to tape so that it doesn't get on the edges, but so that it can also still pour over. All right, my sides are taped, but just to make absolutely sure that resin's not going to get underneath them, I'm going to use one of my old stir sticks, because I still have all these wooden stir sticks, and really push this down. And also, because I want to make sure that my back stays really nice, I am going to go ahead and cover the rest of the back with more tape, just to grab the extra drips that are definitely going to pour over the edges when I start pouring. All right, quick and easy way to get the bottom tape to stay is just to rub this back and forth so you're pressing and know your tape is stuck really well. All right, so what I'm going to do next is show you guys this. This is where my whole project is going to be. Oops, except I'm at the wrong angle. There we go. So I'm going to take a little bit off of this side now that I've got everything situated where I want it. Just cut a little bit there. And then I am going to actually start doing my pour. And since I'm using the quick resin, this should be dry before I'm done with the rest. So I'm just going to start on the outside and kind of work my way in, or maybe start just not all the way to this edge. And I'll show you how I make this edge look nice to go with what's going underneath after I've done some of the pour. So I'm going to stop for just a second and put some plastic underneath this and use some of my used cups, because you don't have to throw things away, be frugal. Some of these used pour cups, I use them upside down to prop up the paintings when I know I'm going to let resin spill over. So let me get that situated and we'll be right back. Alright you guys, I'm going to quickly run through my list of products and colors that I'm using. I am using Apple Barrel White Paint mixed with Pearl X powder pigment in Macro Pearl. I'm then using Craft Essentials Black acrylic paint. This is a Michaels brand, and the Apple Barrel I got from Walmart. And I'm mixing that with my Pearl X in Reflex Violet. Because these are dark but they're iridescent, I don't want to just have black in there. I want it to have a little hint of purple to it. And so mixing Pearl X even with black gives a cool look. Also, I have little bits of green in those crystals, so I'm mixing my Pearl X Reflex Violet and Pearl X Duo Blue Green into another cup. And I've never done that before. I don't know if that's going to look great or look like mud, but we'll see. I'm also using Tester's brand enamel paint. This is paint that you would get in the craft store in the section for making like model airplanes and ships and things. I love this because it's super shiny. This is the metallic gold color from Tester's. And when you mix it with resin, it eventually floats in the resin. So it really helps you to give a 3D effect, even if you're only pouring 1 or 2 layers. And then I got this sparkling glitter from Target, and I don't remember the exact cost of this, but I feel like it was less than $5, and I'm dumping it everywhere because glitter is such a mess all the time. Hang on. Okay, I actually had some of this left over from a different project, and I pour my glitter that's from these into smaller cups, and this was still in the cups. So one of the nice things about this Total Boat with all of these is I don't have to mix and try to hurry and pour as quick as I can, because I'm actually going to pour my resin and hardener right into each cup one at a time. So I can pour, mix, and then pour it on here, completely use it, and then move on to the next color. So even though I have to pour quickly, once I've got it in there, I can take my time overall with choosing my colors and doing everything like that. So I'm going to get pouring. As I'm mixing here, I will speed up, but before I do that, while I mix, I'm going to talk to you guys for a second. So one of the things I want to make sure you guys know, and I haven't been doing a great job of it lately, is how I'm saving money doing this, because that's important. So my canvases were both from Meyer, and if you're not from the USA Midwest area, Meyer is kind of like a Walmart or one of those stores where you can get groceries and you can get home goods and everything all in the same place. And they have just a tiny art section, but they're always putting their canvases and other small craft items on sale. So every time I see that they go into the clearance section or go on super sale for $1 to $3 per canvas, I pick a bunch of them up. So that's where I got those, and that's how I got those inexpensively. And what I am pouring on today is a piece of tablecloth from the dollar store. Now you can get the biggest size tablecloth that they have available from the dollar store, and it's still $1, which is fabulous because I cut pieces of it off. That's my new thing lately. I just cut little pieces of the tablecloth off and use them a good 4 or 5 times before I throw them away, and then cut another piece off. So this is probably only 1/8 to 1/10 of the whole tablecloth, and I can use it a bunch of times. So $1 for the whole thing. So that saves me a ton of money. And all these little individual 1-ounce cups are actually shot glasses, also from the dollar store, and they come in my area in packs of 24 for $1. So I try to reuse these as much as I can. And also when you're using the pump kind of resin, it's really helpful because you can reuse cups that even have some resin dried into them. So lots of good tips there for you. My paints, I try never to spend more than $1 on each thing of paint. And then the Pearl-Ex, I do spend a little more because it's great, but it only takes a tiny bit to make it look really nice. So I feel like that's worth it because you get to use it for a really long time all in the same bottle. So I'm going to start pouring quickly here, and I don't know if you can see it, but I've got a really cool black with a little bit of a hint of sparkly purple in it. And I'm just going to keep doing some pouring. If this gets to this edge, that's okay, but I am going to actually finish this edge last after I let everything else cure. to, don't forget to use your blowtorch on all the drips that are underneath your painting. I have an older video about this, but you absolutely can use those drips for different things, and the colors I'm using right now are fabulous. And I'm letting a lot drip off, and I don't want to waste it. So I'm going to go ahead and hit all my drips to make sure that they don't have bubbles so I can use them later. Alright, we're going to let this cure overnight, even though it doesn't take long. I want to make sure it's totally done. And then in the morning, I'm going to come back and stick the inside part of this through this hole and finish my resin right here and do my edges, and we will have a finished piece. Okay, it's the next morning. This is cured all the way. I'm sure I have a few loose pieces of glass. So real quickly, I'm going to clean this up, pull off the drips that are really hanging down, and obviously I stuck these cups in because the inside was starting to kind of go in a little bit and resin was coming in, so it's going to be stuck to that. So let me peel this up and peel off all my extra to save for jewelry, and we will stick the two parts of this together. Alright, the next thing I'm going to do is remove my tape. And you can see that it doesn't drip too thick when you let it pour over the edges, which is good because it shouldn't be too hard to peel this. But the way to get this off is to use your blowtorch, or if you have a heat tool of some other kind, just to really get it heated back up a little, and then it should peel off pretty easily. And then because I'm doing this 3D effect, I need this tape off because I will show you how I attach the two pieces together, but I have to go through the outside of this somewhere on the piece. Now, I speed that up considerably because you guys don't want to watch me mess with tape forever. That's not really fun. But I want you to realize that that does not happen super easily. I mean, maybe somebody out there has a technique for peeling it perfectly every time, but as you noticed, hopefully you noticed, I was able to peel some parts pretty easily, but where it was a little thicker over the edges, it really was harder and I had to pick at it. But the overall look turned out pretty good. I don't have too much on there. Nothing that sticks out or anything a lot. So I will be able to paint on that and have it look pretty good. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is show you guys how I attach these two parts. Here are how my canvases fit together. And what I'm going to do is do this last little bit of glass around here after I stick these together. And that is because I want there to be some of the resin going in there, but not too much. I'm going to use clear and some mirror glass so that this is a lighter color here, just because that's what a lot of geodes do. They go lighter and then darker from the middle out. And I'm going to let some of that clear pour in so that these two pieces really stick to each other. Now, if you've seen some of my older videos, I used to do the inside and then do the edge and then stick them together. But what I'm finding, and you guys can use this as a tip if you try it, is if you pour the rest of this whole canvas is really sturdy now. And even though these very edges are kind of loose, it's really holding the whole thing up well. So I shouldn't get too much sag right around these edges and have everything pour into the middle. So I'm going to get my drill out and show you how I attach these two pieces together. Okay, I have a couple of different size drill bits here and then a screw. And you want to make sure when you choose a screw that you're going to have one that's going to make it all the way through one canvas and into the next one so that you get these to stick together well. Now when you look at your drill bits in their case, they should all be labeled with the size that they are, and the screws too. But if you're like me, somewhere in your house you've got just a whole bunch of screws and things sitting around that are no longer labeled. So you can also just line up the drill bits like this and see which size is the width of your screw minus all of the little edges. All right, you don't want it to be that size, because if you drill it that size, the hole's too big and it can come back out. So I have that size, and then I've also got a big drill bit that is the width of the top of this screw, and I'm going to drill into just the outer canvas barely so that this will be flush when I screw it in, and I will show you what I mean by that. But what I'm going to do is set these how I want them. And you really have to play with this, because obviously I can't flip this over and do it very well because I've already got the glass here. I've done it a few times, so I'm not worried about that. But if you're new to this, you may want to start by drilling the holes ahead of time, or however you want to do it, just to make it easier for you. But I'm used to this, so I'm just going to do it this way. And what I'm going to do is just push down really well so that this is nice and tight. I can feel the edges still of my canvas inside, and I'm going to give myself a long hole, and then I'm going to put the screw in. Alright, there we go. See how my screw is flush in there? I am going to scrape off a tiny bit of this extra canvas because it's sticking up a little bit. And now it's covered. I'm going to use a dot of glue from my glue gun and fill in the hole on that, and then cut one more time with my razor, and that'll be flush, and then I can paint the edges. Guys, I hate it when I do this. I just recorded myself drawing all these lines with my acrylic paint pens and discovered that the video didn't work. So, giving you a quick close-up of what I did. I use Posca pens in extra fine, and I used the gold and the white, and I'll link you to those just like I link you to all the products I use. But I just want to give you a close-up. The other thing I did was I added some clear glass around here with just a tiny bit of clear resin. And that's not quite finished yet, so I'm going to keep working on that, but I just wanted to update you on that. I also used my enamel paint and painted the edge, and I didn't really show you guys that anyway because there's not a good way to show you, and you don't need to watch me painting the edge. But that's where I'm at right now. There's no magic to drawing lines. I wish there was. I've never found a tutorial that says, hey, do it like this. But I just kind of work my way through it. I have shaky hands, and it seems to be okay. So I'm going to mount this camera back up, and we will finish up the whole painting. Now that things are cured, I'm going to tape the bottom of my piece one more time because I am going to do a clear coat over the top of everything. In addition to that, I have a couple stones I'm going to glue in with my glue gun and then make sure that they stay in with resin, so I'll show you that as well. Alright, before I do my final flood coat, just one thing I want to show you guys. I have right along this very edge a few spots where you can see the canvas, and I'm going to use my glue gun to just glue a couple extra pieces of glass onto those so you can't see that at all. And once I pour my final flood coat, I will make sure that those are in with resin and not just with glue. So I've got my edge looking pretty good at this point. I'm happy with it. That takes a little bit of time. I usually do it at the beginning, but I do take the time to do it because some of things like that, like those extra little details, are what's really going to make your art stand out from other people's art if you're willing to take that extra time and really work out some details. I am going to mix some clear resin. I think it's going to take me 7 or 8 pumps. I'm also going to clean up my glass real quick and then pull off a couple little glue strands that I still see, and then we'll pour the final coat and this will be finished. All right, I'm going to speed this up because this video is already long, but for my clear coat, what I'm going to do is focus. Even though clear is going all over, I don't need to cover all these big stones completely. I'm going to make sure it gets in here to hold those stones down, like I said. But I'm going to focus on sections to make sure, instead of trying to look at the whole thing at the same time and make sure I have it smooth, I will do the stones, and then I'll kind of go in this area between the 2 sets of stones. Pour that, even it out, and then make sure I've got everything covered, and then move on to the next. And sometimes you don't have actual barriers, but you can still go by your line. So I'll probably go by this gold section, and then around here to that edge. And then finally, at the very end, if I have extra resin in my cup, I will start by touching that to my fingers and putting it around the edges, and then I'll let everything kind of smooth over the edges because I don't want to start with the edges and lose too much resin over the sides. So here we go. The clear coat on top, the flood coat, is not as easy as it looks. Sometimes that's the hardest part. I do a lot of leaning in like this and trying to see it from every angle to make sure I don't have a spot that I've missed completely. I am still getting drips coming down, so for the next 10 minutes or so, since this is quick cure, it shouldn't take too long, but for the next 10 minutes, I'm going to keep coming back to this and just rubbing my finger on the bottom. We're going to be able to pull those drips off with the tape, but it's much easier if the drips aren't big. So I'm going to let this cure probably for about an hour or so, and then we'll take the tape off and we'll be finished. All right, you guys, let's finish this piece. This is always my favorite. It's so fun to see your finished product when you're done. I'm going to take the tape off of the back just like I did the last time. Heat it up a little bit with my blowtorch. Part of it actually peeled off a little bit while I was taking it off of the cups. But while I'm doing that, instead of speeding up, I'm going to talk to you guys just a few more seconds. I wanted to tell you one more time, thank you so much for subscribing, for all that you've subscribed. I had no idea that I would hit 15,000 subscribers ever. And you guys know I'm always honest with you in terms of like the mistakes I make painting and everything, but I think that we have to be honest with each other about everything because it helps us all to grow and to heal and things. So I started this journey a year ago because I was struggling a lot with my own anxiety and my own self-consciousness and being worried about what people thought of me. And I decided that I wasn't going to live like that anymore. And I figured the biggest, craziest thing I can do for being somebody who does struggle with anxiety was to do a YouTube channel, because everybody gets to see that. You get good reviews, you get bad reviews, and you know, you do a lot of just working with people. And so I thought, well, I'm going to try it and see what happens, because I hadn't shown anyone my art because I was scared that they wouldn't like it. And so 15,000 subscribers later, I just want to tell you guys, I hope that if there are things, whether it's art related or not, that you think are scary, I really hope you try them, because this has been a cool experience for me. And I get negative comments sometimes and stuff. You're going to with 15,000 people. Not everybody's going to like what you do, but you know what? That is all right. You don't have to worry about that. You got to do what you do and love what you're doing and love the art that you create in life in general. Just do what makes you happy. And so I just encourage all of you guys, if you're struggling at all with trying to figure out what you love and fear over whether you're going to succeed or not, you don't know until you try it. And it's been just an exciting ride to try things. So it's a cool journey. I've had to learn to not worry about what people think, because I will, have people that say, I don't like that you do this and this in your video, and not in a bad way, but I've gotten to the point where now I can say, well, that's the way I do things. And so if you don't like that, that's okay. You don't have to have the same taste as me, but we also don't have to agree. And there are lots of other channels to watch, and I can be okay with that. So there we go, guys. There's my piece. Thank you, thank you, thank you for all of the watching, all of the awesome constructive ideas you guys give me, and just being here and giving great input. I had sick kiddos a couple weeks ago, and of course they didn't get sick at the same time. So I had about a week and a half stretch of one kid sick at a time, and got way behind on answering questions in the comment section of my videos. So I have looked through those, you guys. I've already read them, and I'm going to try my best to start answering questions. Do look through my comment sections, because sometimes the questions you ask are answered in the comments, and I don't mind answering them again at all, but you might get quicker answers that way, since I'm getting a little behind. Still trying to figure out 15,000 people and how to manage all of it. But thank you so much. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do that. I would appreciate it so much. And you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest as the Frugal Resinista. And the big giveaway, this is going to be somebody's. I will mail it to you. I am so sorry, but I am going to stick with this being in the U.S. because I don't know a lot about mailing paintings yet. So please only join the giveaway if you're in the U.S. That's going to be on my Patreon page, and I will link you that in the comment section. You do not have to be a member of Patreon at all. I appreciate so much when people do that and help support my art, but that is not necessary at all to enter the contest. So thank you very much. I'm going to give you guys a close-up of this and then take a few stills, and this will be finished. The contest will end on the last day of July, so you guys have quite a bit of time. If you're seeing this, maybe not the day that I put it out, you have plenty of time to enter, and I will leave a comment on July 31st, ending everything, and then either July 31st or August 1st, I will draw names and pick the winner. Thank you so much for watching.